God is good, man. How you doing? Good.
Bobby was just talking to us about the importance of like tuning out the noise with social media, Twitter, whatever. How have you dealt with that in your playing career, whether in the pros or college or whatever?
Yeah, man. I don't get into that. At the end of the day, we have a job to do. We go out there and we compete at a high level. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But the main thing, as a athlete at the highest level, you have to keep your confidence. You can't let anybody, write your story. Or if you make a mistake or if you fail at something, you just got to keep the confidence going because at the end of the day, you're always going to have another opportunity to maximize or change that outcome.
Jamal, where do you feel the communication is at on defense? Like, do you feel like it's made? How many strides have you felt like it's made in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's been getting better. You know what I mean? Each and every week. Obviously, we want to continue to do that. Communication, is a very, very, very big thing for us. On the defensive side, especially at home, dealing with the crowd noise. So as long as we communicate and as we stay on the same page and not give up explosive plays, we'll be fine.
What have you noticed about how teams are maybe paying more attention to you when you're trying to rush the passer?
Yeah, obviously, I've dealt with, being chipped, double team, sliding the protection. But, at the end of the day, that's a respect thing, for me, for myself, that they respect me. And, I understand that. Just trying to figure out, certain ways I can, beat those double teams or those chips or whatever the case may be to where I can free up somebody, one of my teammates to make a play. So that's what I'm about.
You talk about the lack of communication. Is that because there are new players on defense, you're running different schemes? Is that not recognizing how important communication was at this point? Why was it missing?
I don't know. I can't answer that. But I don't think it's a huge problem like we're making it seem. It's just something that we need to continue to get better at. You can always get better at your game. You can always get better as a defense. And around this time, people kind of get away from the fundamentals of the game of football. So you just got to stay on top of, your details.
The pregame intro Sunday night, was that a tribute to somebody?
Yeah, it was a viral video that's been, around for a long time. I ran across it. One of my boys sent it to me in a group message, and I just so happened to have my Sunday night football intro that I needed to do. And gave him some love. Rest in peace to him. He did pass away. He did get shot back in October. Found that out. Did not know that. But it was just it's a funny viral video that came out. I'm not looking for the apologies. I don't need it. I'm a grown man. I don't care about the memes, the social media. I don't get into that. I'm not on Twitter. I am on Instagram. I love Instagram. I love pictures. I am on Facebook. You can follow me if you want to, but I might not accept you because, I'm very private on the Facebook. You know what I mean? It's just family, close friends, but I think about it. But I don't get caught up in all that, man. You know what I mean? I'm blessed, man. I'm 26. I'm doing what I love to do. I come to work each and every day. I'm happy. My mom's happy. My father's happy. Everybody back home is happy, so I have nothing to complain about.
Look out for that Facebook invite.
No doubt, man. I got you.
About three plays. First, the Deshaun Jackson big catch against the Rams, the Higbee touchdown against the Rams, and then the
Oh, you going way back. So we ain't even focused on this week.
I was about to ask about the interception. And
Oh, okay.
The dropped interception,
Okay.
or however everyone calls it.
Yeah.
And I guess the Steelers, just what do you make of those three opportunities to make a big play that you did?
Yeah, it didn't happen. Got another opportunity.
Jamal, when you self-scout your game film, what do you see different this year from a year ago in terms of your ability to deliver big plays?
Obviously, I was getting a little bit more opportunities to rush in the passer and creating some things, creating some habits. But, we're working through those things. And, when my number's called, I got to come through.
You mentioned it. You obviously were asked to rush more. Is that Pete said you guys have been having kind of an ongoing conversation about that too? Is that something you feel like you can provide more in that way, and that's just something kind of a give and take? And
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I can do it all, man. You know what I mean? That's just the confidence that I have, and all I can do is come to work each and every day and put my best effort, out there. You know what I mean? On and off the field, in the classroom, just handling my business as a pro, because that's what I am. I'm a pro, so I'm not really here to complain about the opportunities that I don't have or that I don't get from last year to this year. I'll be honest with you, I'm not here to prove anything to anybody. You know what I mean? I'm here to prove myself right. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, I'm grateful to continue to play this game at a high level. I don't get caught up in the outside noise. I don't get caught up on mistakes because at the end of the day we are human. We make mistakes, but hey, the good thing is I got another opportunity to make up for it.
Jamal, what have you learned about this team through 6 weeks, either through the shortcomings you've had in the first 6 games, the group that you have together? What stood out to you?
Man, what really stood out was last game. It's crazy to say, even though we lost. You seen the fight. You seen what type of team we have when we believe in ourselves and we believe in one another. That it doesn't matter. It comes all the way down to the end. You never know. So we're gonna continue to fight. Yeah, it's not the best record so far, but teams are still in it, man. It's still early in the season. To me, there's no panic. We're going to continue to go to work, continue to go to practice each and every day. Flying around, getting better, because that's what it's about. Because this thing can turn. It can always turn, and eventually it will.
When you see something like Darrelle get stretched off the field with a bad neck, and you have to just go play the next snap right after, is that difficult to do that?
It is. Because, it's so many thoughts that's coming in your mind, as a football player out there. But at the end of the day, we have a job. You know what I mean? We have a job to do, and that was a crucial situation, coming down to the end of the game. Obviously, I dropped the pick, and it is what it is. I'll have another opportunity. Don't worry.
Did you have any indication that Darrelle was okay in that moment when you guys were all huddled around him?
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was okay. He was kind of like, pushing the doctors off, like saying, like, let him up. But, it was a smart thing that we, didn't allow him to get up because, obviously, safety first. We play a gladiator sport. And, sometimes things like that happen. It's very scary. I'm glad that he's okay, and he's back with us.
Some Jets teams that struggled. What was the vibe like in that building when you guys were struggling?
You trying to get me on the news line, bro. Come on, man.
What is the vibe like now compared to situations in the past where your teams you've been on have also struggled?
We're good, man. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to say it. It's, when you believe in something and you work so hard at it, and you got a group of men that comes in here each and every day, and they bust their tail and they sacrifice so much, and you understand the type of team you have, the type of teammates you have, we're gonna be fine, man. We're just putting it together. Obviously, it hasn't rolled our way, and obviously they haven't been used to losing out here like that, right? And people are hitting the panic button, but there's no need to do that, man. We're just gonna keep our head down, keep fighting, and then we'll look up at the end of the season.
You were on the line of scrimmage a lot more early in the game in Pittsburgh. What did you notice that impacting the offense, how they reacted to you, and how different that might have been the first 5 games for you?
33 left, 33 right, 33 to Mike, you know what I mean? So that's really the difference. Just always, knowing where I'm at. But, again, man, that's the type of player I am. Whether people, agree with it or not, I don't really care for that. At the end of the day, I have a job to do, and I go out there and I try to be the best I can.
Why do you think you haven't been asked to rush the passer as much this year?
Oh, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? I can't really answer that one.
That's a good question. If you had your way, would you be doing it a little bit more? Did you feel
I mean,
comfortable?
there's so many things you can do, right? And so many things I can say that I wish I could do, or vice versa, whatever, man. At the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to get wins. You know what I mean? And we haven't been winning. So I don't care what I do, as long as we win, that's all that matters.
Run defense. You come out on the field just before the game, and you're one of those guys who goes to the end zone, takes a knee. What are you doing in that moment?
I'm praying. I'm giving all the glory to the man above, and I'm just talking to him just putting a shield over me, putting a shield over everybody out there. You know what I mean? I pray for the other team as well because, you know, seeing injuries, you know, people don't understand what we go through in and out of the building. You know, a lot of mental things, a lot of injuries that people deal with, family issues. You just never know what anybody's going through, right? So I just try to pray, and you know, I always give all the glory and praise to Him because, you know, I'm doing something that I love to do. I'm healthy, and, you know, man, there's no better feeling to go out there and you know, just playing a game that I love.
Run defense struggled for most of the first 5 games, but then last week you guys held Harris to 3.4 yards per carry. What do you think changed in that particular game, and how does that help you guys going against Kamara this week?
Yeah, I think it's just the mindset, you know what I mean, and flying around the field, and you know, getting the pass popping. You know, a lot of running backs, you know, they want to run the ball, you know, when cats are not hitting. You know what I mean? So when you deliver blows and you set the tone early on, you know, you can put some type of, I don't want to say scare them, you know what I mean, because they're not scared, but you know, you slow the potential offense down of what they can do. You know, when you get a balanced offense and they're running the ball really efficient, and you know, that's going to get you to bite up on certain play actions or certain runs, and then here goes the deep shot. You know what I mean? So, you know, we have a tough task at hand. You know, Sean Payton and Alvin and Jameis and those guys, they're going to do a phenomenal job of what they do, you know, personnel-wise, and how they can attack us. So we gotta be on our P's and Q's.
How much stress can a really top quality pass catching running back like Alvin Kamara put on a defense, and what challenge does that present?
Yeah, he's special. You know what I mean? He's a great football player. Obviously, we got our hands full. We have to slow him down as much as possible. But you know, at the end of the day, we'll be ready.
Trey Brown show you anything on Sunday night?
Yeah, I mean, he, you know, his heart. You know, he loves the game of football, man, and you can respect that. You know what I mean? You can do a lot with somebody who loves the game and who's very passionate. I'm happy for him. You know, just being from, you know, closer to back home. You know, I knew about Trey for a minute, and I'm just happy to see him, you know, get his opportunity to go out there and showcase what he can do. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool.
You guys have the same trainer, right? You heard
Yeah,
about it?
we do. We definitely do.
When you go back and forth with coaches or opponents during the game, just whether it's something quick after a play or whatever, what does that do for you during the game? Like, why do you enjoy that part of the game, the trash talk part of it?
It makes me play better. When I can go out there and talk shit, I mean, that just makes me play better, to be honest with you. It's, you know, you can't play this gladiator sport and, you know, just go out there and just kind of be quiet. I'm not really into that. You know, but I don't talk noise when we're losing. You know what I mean? Because that's like you in a fight. You know, you getting hit, pow, pow, pow. But then, you know, you talking noise still. You know, that person might say you crazy, but, you know, you're going to come after them. But you're losing, so I don't do it when I'm losing. But when I'm winning, you better watch out, because I ain't going to shut up.
Best opposing trash talker you've come across in your career?
Probably Phillip Rivers. Yeah. My rookie year, he was talking crazy.
But no swear words, right?
Huh?
That he would talk trash and not swear?
I ain't gonna snitch on anybody, man. You know, hey, whatever's said out there is, you know, it's said, but it's all competitive, man. You know what I mean? You can't. I mean, I don't know. I'm just different. You know, when I compete, I like to talk noise. You know, I'm not going to, you know, do anything to not have fun with it. You know, just make it fun. But you know, when you're on the field, you definitely gonna hear people talking noise, man. It's a game of football.
Anything else? Thanks, Al.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamal.